Hi again. So in the last video, we stopped at entering the grade standard, and I now want to show you how to set up the grade categories whereby you can then also enter in your grades. Before I do that, I want to carry us to something that we are familiar with just for us to get our bearings and some measure of relevance. So I'm going to open up Gradekeeper, and we are familiar with Gradekeeper. Here we have a list of students, some grades, their percentage grades, and these are different assignments or activities that the students would have been given, all right, and the grades that they would have attained in it. If you go to the Gradebook options and you go to categories, here you have the different categories that you can put and the percentages that it will take up in the overall 100%. And I'm saying that because exactly what we see here is what we are now going to try and set up in CAMS. Now, there are some little issues I will explain along the way, but I just want to make sure that we understand that what we see here, we have assignments being worth 15% of the overall grade, midterm being worth 40% of the overall grade, assessment exams 10% of the overall grade, and then your final examinations is 35%. So if you add 15 and 40, that's going to be 55, plus 10, that's going to be 65, and 65 plus 35 will carry us to a full 100%. So these are the different categories for this particular course that I teach, and the relevant weighting system. And of course, we see we are utilizing category weights. So now that we understand what it is, what we are trying to do based upon Gradekeeper, let's now go back to CAMS. Now, so let's go, and to set up these categories, we simply click the link here, set up categories. Again, I'm reminding you that the course that I'm currently in is Principles of Macroeconomics, Econ 227, Group 1. So I click set up categories for this course, and then it brings me to this page, and I therefore go to, on the left hand side here, add category, and we have here a drop down box. Now what I want to explain is this: currently the IT department have only added two categories, the final grade and quizzes. Okay, they have only added two categories. All right, in the following semester, as CAMS is further rolled out, more categories will be added. Categories such as assignments, midterms, projects, and so forth. So all we have is the final grade and the quizzes, and this is done simply so that, because all we are expected to do in this semester is put in the final grade. So let me simply explain. So we click category, click final grade, we click that, and we leave the weight at 100, and you go and you add the Gradebook category. And there we have, for our categories, we have the final grade and the weight is 100%. Now let me explain what we can do. The best thing we can do, seeing as we have all throughout the semester we would have been utilizing Gradekeeper, is that we use Gradekeeper as usual. We enter in the final exam marks, all right, for the students, and then we will get a grade, and then we get a percent, and therefore whatever percentage is associated with that grade, I would now advise you to put in that percent as a number. So we see 87%. When we go to CAMS, you would go for that particular student and put in the percentage that they got. So the weight is 80 is out of 100, and because 87% is out of, all percentages are out of 100, you can simply put the mark that the student received overall is 87 out of 100. Sorry, repeat again. Due to the fact that currently CAMS only has two categories set up, which were quizzes and your final exam, I'm advising you to simply put 100% weighting under your final exams. Upon doing that, you utilize Gradekeeper as you usually would have done. So you tabulate the student's mark as usual. You put in, so throughout the semester you would have had assignments, your midterm, whatever other exams, and then of course the part for their final exams. After you put in all of the information for the students under Gradekeeper, you will be able to tally the students' total grade or their overall grade at the end of the semester. Whatever percentages that you see here, I therefore am advising that you can take this value, 87, because all percentages are out of 100. So you simply take 87 and then you record it to the relevant student, whichever student received that 87, and it would go across as 87% in CAMS. In the following semester, the additional categories will be added and you could put the relevant weights for each category. But as it stands, there are only 2 categories and we are only required to put in information for final exams. Okay? So I hope I explained it as clearly as possible. So let me carry to that aspect of CAMS where you can now put in the students' grades, because what we see here is that we have set up our grade standard, we've set up our categories. Now, where do you actually put in your grades? So, what you want to do is go to Set Up Assignments, okay? So you click Set Up Assignments. And in clicking that, we're now under the Set Up Assignment aspect of CAMS, and you're going to add your assignment. Now, the only assignment that we have to add actually is final exam grades. So we're going to have, so the category we're utilizing is final grade, because that's the category we utilized so far. And the description you can put is your final grade. Okay? And, or final grade, or even let's change it to overall grade. And we have the due date. You simply put and you have to utilize a proper format. So you're going to put 12th month. Let's put it on the 23rd. Due date is the 23rd, 2013. And the total points, we're going to put it out of 100, because 87 out of 100 or 50 out of 100 will be 87% or 50% respectively. So we're going to put the total points out of 100. All right, we have allow grade view, yes, and we have add course assignment. When we add that, we now have the assignment added. The course assignment is here, the final grade. The assignment description is the overall grade of the student. Okay, upon doing that, you can now go back to course options, click the link, and you go now to record grades. You can either record grades based upon the assignment or by the student. In this case, simply because we only want to put in the final grade for all students, we can put by assignment. You click that, and therefore we have our assignment listing. The category is final grade, and the assignment description will be the overall grade. Click this, and you're going to see the list of students in your course. In this case here, these are my students, all right, and therefore we have to put in the score, and we're going to see how it reflects in CAMS. Now, I just want to narrow this a bit. So that I can pull up Gradekeeper to show the comparison. So just bear with me a little. Alright, so let's just say that these are the ID numbers for the relevant students that are here. So as I said before, this grade that we see here, we are all accustomed to. We know that this 87% is the overall grade as a result of the student performing under the category of assignments. They got 10 out of 10 points under the category of assignments. Their midterm, this particular student would have received 46 out of 50, 28.5 out of 50 points with regards to the assessment exam, and in their final exam out of 100 points, the student got 84.5. All of these different categories would have added up to the overall grade of 87.1%. And again, as I stated before, because CAMS only allows us to put in the final grade category or the final exam category and the quizzes, and because we are at the end of the semester and all we want to get is our grades, final grades input for students, we can simply take this 87%, and because we placed this this particular grade out of 100, if we put 87 and you enter it, if you click elsewhere, you realize that the percentage is going to be 87%, and then the letter grade that the student will receive is an A minus. You realize that this corresponds to what we see on Gradekeeper, something that we are accustomed using. So 87% would give this student an A minus. 87% here, when you put it in CAMS, also gives the student an A minus, because we placed in CAMS the grading system that USC utilizes. Again, if we put 92%, right, for this student here, we put 92. All right, immediately when you click elsewhere, you realize CAMS states that the percentage was going to be 92%, and the letter grade for 92% is an A. Remember, the reason why this is reflecting this way, we put this particular category of overall grade out of 100 points, and therefore anything out of 100 gives a percentage, gives itself a percentage. So therefore 92 out of 100 is 92%, 87 out of 100 is 87%. And it could therefore go and fill out the information for all of your students based upon the overall grade that you would have already calculated in Gradekeeper. So again, I went ahead and I filled out the entire information here for all of the students. All right, so you have the original scores, the adjusted percentage score, and the associated letter grades. So you could go ahead and click save. If you realize, so far you're under the title ungraded assignments, and under graded assignments there's nothing. There are no students with a grade for this assignment. When you click save, however, it says grades saved successfully, and now those grades are now transferred to being under graded assignments. By clicking save, they are now registered in CAMS as being graded. Okay, so I have shown you therefore how you can input your grades into CAMS, all right, for final exams, and then now to submit it to the registrar, you can simply go to course options, and you can go to submit grades. Okay, right, and now we have this option. So we see final grade, we have continue to submit grades step 2. So before we go to step 2, let's just look at what we have here. So we have the student name, all right, and then we have this column, the midterm course GPA, the midterm grade. Well, we don't have that information here, all right, because we don't have that category. We have the final course GPA and the grade. This column here looks at the missing grades on the midterm or final. We have none. And this here is looking at blocked grades that need to be recalculated, and of course if any of these grades would have been sent to registrar. All right, so the N represents no. All right, if we had submitted some of these names to the registrar, we would have seen a letter Y. So let's continue to submit grades step 2. Click that option, and therefore we come to this part where you now have the option of putting the grade. Now let's say one of my students here, let's say they had withdrawn, and their names are still in CAMS. Okay, you'd therefore go put a W and put withdrawal. Okay, but of course this particular student did not withdraw, and therefore they have a grade, and therefore I would put the requisite A minus, because that's the grade that we know they received, and therefore everybody here's grade reflects what they have: A, C minus, C minus. So CAMS puts the grade that we know that they would have received. Okay, and then of course you could go to continue to submit grade step 3, and after this step the information will be sent to the registrar. So this is as far as I can go, because this data that I've inputted here is not actual data for this current group of students that I have, and therefore I have to go and delete these grades. So this is as far as I go, but I hope this explanation on how to submit grades have been helpful. Okay, if you go back to course options, when you go through the actual process of submitting the grades, you can simply go to view submitted, right? View submitted information, and you would see all the grades for the students that you would have submitted. And as I said before, because I didn't go through the actual process, there's no information here. So I hope this video, or the 2 videos that I've done in total, would have been helpful for you. and I do wish you all the best in submitting your grades for your students. Thank you. Take care and God bless. Bye.